Today we will show you how to go from this to that. Hello everybody, so today we're going to be demonstrating the adjustment of hydraulic pressure on the R22. We decided that we wanted to dig a trench here, and we started digging and realized we have zero pressure. The bucket wouldn't even go 6 inches in the ground, so the pressure is really low. Now we got our tools and we're going to quickly show you guys how to adjust it and measure to make sure you have the right pressure. Let me roll up my sleeves for this one. All right, so before we get into it, hit a like and drop a comment. Let us know what real world tests you'd like to see.
You know what would be cool?
What?
If we can destroy Andrew's Subaru with RS20.
Oh man, that would be crazy, but we might just do it. Who knows? Comment do it if you want to see this happen. We have disconnected this hydraulic line that is going to this front arm cylinder. This is a great place to measure the hydraulic oil pressure. Now we're gonna connect our hydraulic oil gauge. So now we're making sure we have the right fittings. Here we put this one. Make sure you have a lot of rags and this kind of things for this job, as it does get messy, and make sure you relieve the pressure before you unscrew anything. That way you don't cause any safety issues, because there's a high pressure, you're working with high pressure hydraulics. So this is how it looks like. We have our T-fitting going from our hydraulic hose that's going into the cylinder, and then we have a high pressure hydraulic test line going to our gauge that must go up to a minimum of 3000 psi. So let me get a key and we'll tighten this all up. Since they recommend this machine max psi between 28 and 2900, so we'll play it safe at 2800 just in case. So here's the pressure. How we're going to test it: we're going to contract the cylinder completely. Tima, come and hold the gauge here while I'm going to be operating the joysticks, and he will be showing you the gauge. Now that we have our gauge hooked up and everything to the front arm cylinder, now before we start adjusting any of the hydraulic pressure on our hydraulic valve block / manifold, first we're going to test what pressure we are at initially. We're going to start the machine. So we're just going to move our joystick until it's fully compressed, and then we can get our reading, okay? So that's how we do that. So now we've received the maximum pressure that we're sitting at. We're sitting at about 24 to 2500 psi. So we need to gain roughly about 350 to 400 psi to make this thing working. Now before we adjust anything, we're gonna relieve all the pressure, which you see on the gauge. It's relieved off there. We're gonna make sure that our hydraulic lock is on, and we're gonna move these joysticks to release any left pressure before we start adjusting the hydraulic valve block. So now that we've done that, we can come here to the valve block. I'll show you guys exactly where the adjustment is here. Our hydraulic valve block on the 22 is located under the floorboard, and here, if you look right here, there's our adjustment port. First, before we do any adjustments, make a markings. If anything, we can always return back to our adjustments and we know exactly how much we adjust. At first, we'll probably do half a turn, but then once we get closer to our wanted pressure, we'll start doing smaller adjustments. I'll make a straight line so I know exactly where we are when we're straight. I'll do just a half circle also to know exactly how far away we were from this lock nut. So this is our counter lock nut right here that we're looking at, and then right this one that's on the Allen adjustment screw, that's our adjustment screw, and this one's just a lock, and these ones will just help us with our markings. Okay, so the two tools we'll be using for the adjustment port on the valve block, it's our short 19 size key and 6mm Allen wrench. First, what we're gonna do, we're gonna unscrew the counter nut. So this nut, we have unscrewed it, and we can adjust the pressure screw, which is this one right here, using our Allen wrench. To increase the pressure, we're gonna go clockwise, turn right. We'll probably start with half a turn, see where that gets us, and then we'll go from there, because a little gets you a lot in this kind of arrangements. Now that I drew that line with my marker, now I can know exactly how much I'm adjusting. So right now I'm at a quarter turn, and one more and I'm gonna be at half a turn. Now we're gonna tighten our locking nut, our counter nut here. Okay, so now that that's tight, we can go and check our adjustments again. We're gonna start our machine, and Simon here is gonna go hold our gauge for us. Now we're at like 29. Now we're good. So I think we need to try and dig. If it doesn't dig like this, it's gonna be bad. So as you seen there, guys, now we're looking at about 2,800 to 2,850. So right about to where we can start operating the machine now. So now we're gonna test it. Definitely better now. Okay guys, so now that we've adjusted the pressure and we've tested it by testing the machine lift function using the blade and the boom, looks like our pressure is all good. Now we're gonna disconnect our gauge and reconnect the hydraulic hose directly to the cylinder, and then we can start digging. Basically, the moral of the story, what was the issue here? No real issue, it just needed some adjusting. So if your machine has similar symptoms, just go through all the steps that we showed. First, connect your hydraulic. First, before you do that, you do the lift test. You test if you can lift the machine using the bucket and the blade. If your machine is barely getting off the ground, then there's something wrong with the pressure. So that's the most generic test from the start. If you see that there's an issue, either you cannot dig, there's no digging pressure, or you can't even lift the machine off the ground, then you get your trusty gauge set, standard one on Amazon, about 150 bucks. I recommend to anybody who owns this kind of excavator. It's just a must-have because it's all hydraulically driven. So you better know how much hydraulics you have getting pushed out and everything, because that's pretty much all this machine does. It just pushes hydraulic fluid everywhere, and that's how it operates. So then we connected our gauge setup, connected it to our front arm cylinder, right? And in the most convenient place. It was just the easiest place, and it's easy to test there. So, but technically you can connect it to a lot of other places. Just don't try and do it to the attachment quick connect, because actually I've tried it before, and if you try and do it to your quick connect for the attachments, you're gonna get a different pressure reading. So don't do it there. Make sure you do it preferably on one of the cylinders, directly to a cylinder, to the line. So well, that's what we did. We connected there, tested the gauge. We saw our pressure. It was about 400 psi low, or 500. Even that difference can be detrimental for this kind of a machine. We adjusted our Allen adjustment screw, just 1/4 turn. A quarter turn brought us up about 400 to 500 psi. So you do not need much at all, guys. So we just adjusted it a little bit, quarter turn, tightened everything back up. Now we're just disconnecting the hydraulic gauge so that we can start digging. Okay, yeah, so now everything is back in place. Try and have your tools like rags and buckets and all that stuff, so you don't spill a lot of hydraulic oil everywhere, especially if you're doing it indoors. And other than that, it's very simple to adjust as long as you know the procedure, and just go forth with the adjustment. Okay guys, so now that our pressure adjusted, we can get to our project. All right, this is where we split it. We want to leave this video as a technical fix, and in the next one, we're gonna be putting it to work. We already seen the results, and they're pretty impressive. Make sure you go check it out. It might already be out. If not, subscribe so you don't miss it. Leave a comment, give us any feedback. It really matters to us. And yeah, let's do it.